Welcome to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy. This video is on your Monday Night Raw and Superstars results. And as normal, I gave some news, some brief news. Ric Flair was scheduled to appear on tonight's Raw, but he was hospitalized. According to Mike Johnson from PWInsider.com, reported that Flair was pulled from the show and taken to a nearby hospital due to a blood clot in his leg. Flair had to pull out of the All Japan booking in January due to blood clot issues. Obviously, WWE was wise to err on the side of caution. Here's hoping Flair is taking the health scare just as seriously. The original source from this news came from Mike Johnson of PW Insider. Matt Hardy and Reby Sky announced their engagement via social media on Monday. That's today. He asked, and the response was, "Is this a fucking work?" As Sky Reby replied on Twitter to a fan that had said that, and she said it wasn't, and she also said yes to verify that. So you can follow her on twitter.com/RebySky, and also the Matt Hardy brand on Twitter as well. Congratulations to the happy couple, and Reby also posted photos of the engagement ring at twitpic.com/CED2GP. Other wrestling news, injury news, Sean Waltman confirmed that he will be leaving the hospital today after undergoing surgery on Sunday morning. Sorry it's been taking so long to thank everyone. Waltman wrote on Monday morning, this morning, "Thank you, Jerry Lynn. If it wasn't for you, there would be no me." Follow Waltman on Twitter at twitter.com/therealxpac. The injury occurred during a Bronco Buster spot during the four-way main event of the Jerry Lynn retirement show on Saturday night. Waltman was in good spirits on Sunday. You can view a photo of Waltman with his former girlfriend Alicia Webb at Instagram.com/XQXOI3C capital S little W capital T. And the first part of that is capital X capital Q capital X. Okay, TMZ has picked up a story regarding the xpac Waltman surgery that he did on Sunday. Waltman suffered a torn anus while performing a Bronco Buster during the fatal four-way main event on the Heavy on Wrestling show, that's HOW, on Saturday when he overshot the move and landed on an exposed portion of the turnbuckle. They normally have the pads on the top ones. Well, the cover of the turnbuckle wasn't there, and when he redid the Bronco Buster, his ass was kind of like right there on the turnbuckle. So it kind of split his butt open. You can read the story at TMZ.com. Waltman underwent the surgery at the Hennepin County Medical Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota on Sunday morning. He was released from the hospital today. There was a reporter that spoke with Waltman a short time ago, and he was in good spirits, though he said there was a chance that he will need another surgery. This is actually the second time he has torn his anus during a match. And you can check out the full report on the HOW event, which featured Jerry Lynn's final match and post-match speech on the main page. Well, I didn't get the results for that one. I guess HOW, do a search on that. If I can find the results, I'll post it on tomorrow night's SmackDown spoilers. Former WWE star Chris Masters is a hero from last week as he saved his mom's life. He also appeared on Good Morning America on March 22nd to tell his story about uprooting a tree to save his mother's life. And you can see the video from Good Morning America at gma.yahoo.com/blogs /abc-blogs /wrestler-chris-masters-went hero-mode-save-mom-192-505-246. ABC-news-celebrities.html. Whew. Try saying that all at once. The story continued to gain steam. My guess is that this is the pinnacle of it, but WWE has to be paying attention to all of this. He's been profiled at every major paper and now a TV spot. If he's ever going to get back into WWE, now's the time to get him. Happy birthday, Undertaker! Real name Mark Calloway, turned 48 years old. He was born March 24th, 1965. Yeah, it's time for the annual Undertaker high school photo, which I'm posting on Facebook as soon as the video is over, because the Facebook site is down right now. And he graduated from S.P. Waltrip High School in 1983. And I'm adding it to my wrestling pics on my Facebook account. Update on the results from Paul Bearer's death, aka William Moody. He died of a heart attack caused by a supraventricular tachycardia. I hope I pronounced this right. Tachycardia, which is SVT, or rapid heart rate. According to his son Michael, SVT is a treatable condition and not generally life-threatening. But it appears Moody ignored the symptoms until it was too late. And you can read more at tmz.com/2003-03/Paul-Bearer-heart-attack. SVT is usually treated with drugs and or cardioversion, shocking a conscious patient. As the story states, is rarely fatal when caught. Let this be a lesson to those who have chest pains. Better safe than sorry. I myself have a AFib. That means I have a irregular heart rate. It skips a lot. As noted earlier, Evan Bourne wrote not long when asked by a fan on Twitter how long he has until WWE clears him to wrestle again. PW Insider reports that Bourne should be ready to return for in-ring action by May. Give him another month. He's also in my friends list on Facebook as a regular, and he's been posting quite a bit, especially about fakes and everything else about fakes. Those claiming to be somebody who they ain't. Thanks to WrestlingInc.com for the following, the readers from the following reports. The Jack Adams and Donald Wood from Ring Rust Radio for sending in the results for tonight's Raw taping from the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and the Superstars. Spoilers, Kofi Kingston defeated Primo. Natalia defeated Oksana with a sharpshooter. So I guess you want to tap out. Live from Raw, Philadelphia, Wells Fargo Center. The opening recap video focused on The Rock versus John Cena and The Undertaker versus CM Punk. Michael Cole saw Jerry King Lawler introduce the show and stated that there were 18,168 fans in attendance, supposedly a sellout. CM Punk and Paul Heyman headed to the ring together. Heyman held the urn over his head, just as he previously held the WWE Championship over his head. Once at ringside, Heyman held the urn out, just as Paul Bearer used to. Heyman climbed onto the ring apron and tossed the urn to Punk. Punk mocked the idea that Undertaker can't be beaten at WrestleMania and that the urn had special power by talking about how they say he asked Paul Heyman who they are, and then looked down at the urn and asked Paul the same question. Punk said Undertaker's career should have ended last year when he walked off holding his hands with Triple H and Shawn Michaels. Punk said Taker ruined it all by coming out on his show and pointed at the WrestleMania sign. Punk said Taker's history is being rewritten by the name who happens to be the best in the world. Punk said he didn't take the urn to disrespect Paul Bearer, he took it to disrespect Taker. Punk then dropped the urn on the ground and said it doesn't mean a damn thing to him. Punk picked it up again and said he has something that Taker wants. He said Taker is at a psychological disadvantage and how he's scared. He said Taker would go 21-0 against any other man and believes he could have gone 30-0 or even 50-0, but he is facing the man who is the best in the world. He said there is nobody in the world who will beat him at WrestleMania. I am the 1 in 20-1. As Punk said, he said he was waiting for all the lights to go out and to feel the chill. He said Taker's perfect WrestleMania record will rest in, and just as that happens, Taker's gong hits once he said peace. Lights went out briefly. When they came back on, Taker was in the ring and with his wrestling gear, throwing punches at Punk. Taker, who was a crew cut, continued to throw punches until Punk rolled out of the ring. Punk and Heyman stood on the stage. Punk still had the urn and mocked the Undertaker with it. Actually, it was Heyman that had grabbed the urn and started running up the rampway, and Punk joined him. Cole said Punk should enjoy it now because there's going to be hell to pay in 2 weeks at WrestleMania. Cole saw hype the Rock and John Cena feud being interviewed in a Q&A that consists of 5 Hall of Famers and 2 future Hall of Famers. Coleslaw said with those 5 Hall of Famers and 2 future Hall of Famers, it's arguably the greatest collection of talent ever assembled. Lawler hyped Fandango as a vignette footage aired. He said Fandango would be in action up next as they got cut to the commercial. Okay. Well, surprised we saw Taker in his ring gear before WrestleMania. That being said, the segment was good. Punk made chicken salad out of the chicken shit via his mic work. He spoke confidently about beating Taker, while Coleslaw did an effective job of selling the match to those who want to see Punk silenced by Taker. I'm cautiously optimistic about the Q&A. It could be a great segment filled with star power if the right legends are involved and are on their game. Fandango, as he pronounced it on Raw tonight, and his female dancer, unnamed dancer as of yet, made their entrance, and the big light bright contraption hung in the ring behind them. I hadn't made it home from work on that up to the I'll let you know whenever I made it in and seen. But I did see the highlights of that first part where they showed it in full highlight instead of just the main parts of it. Well, Fandango took the mic and started to say his name when he was interrupted by Chris Jericho's music. Jericho ran to the ring and attacked Fandango as Coleslaw said this was not the scheduled match. Fandango quickly fled the ring. Coleslaw said Jericho was scheduled to face Dolph Ziggler. Ziggler came out and Coleslaw said that the match was going to take place now. It appears that WWE is setting up Jericho versus Fandango for WrestleMania. I wonder if it will become a lumberjack match as a way to keep Fandango in the ring and to get everyone on the show. First match of the evening as I come in, and the match is already in progress. Jericho versus Ziggler. As the announcers were saying, they call him Ziggles. Didn't somebody else call him that a long time ago? Jericho got the bulk of the early offense and was in control heading into the first break, a minute and 50 seconds into the match. Later, Langston tried to interfere, but Jericho caught him. Ziggler caught Jericho with a move for a 2 count. Jericho caught back and applied the walls of Jericho and got the clean win. Somewhere during this match, Jerry King, it was not Jerry King Lawler, or was it? I think it was Michael Coleslaw said something about the applications on your cell phones. If you have those apps, you can see the action on the break. When they go to commercial, you can see the action on your app. So that's something new that hasn't been doing lately. I guess I'm just trying to plug the apps now. as Chris Jericho defeated Dolph Ziggler in 7 minutes 30 seconds. After the match, Langston entered the ring and attacked Jericho from behind. Langston put Jericho down with a big finishing move, and then talked smack while standing over Jericho. Well, just after that, as Ziggler and company left the ring, Fandango and his lady returned. They stood in the ring and just danced over Jericho briefly. The female dancer left the ring and Fandango attacked Jericho and yelled, "Say my name! What's my name?" A loud "You can't wrestle" chant broke out from the crowd. And Jericho fired back with a shot as he was trying to get up, but Fandango put him down again and performed a top rope leg drop. That was nice and sweet. Fandango then got up and knelt over Jericho and said, "It's Fandango." A good segment with Jericho getting the win, but Langston looking like a badass and Fandango getting good heat for attacking Jericho while he was down. I'm looking forward to see Jericho versus Fandango match at WrestleMania a lot more than most people seem to be. The announcers hyped that Triple H would comment on the possibility of having his final match at WrestleMania 29 due to the stipulations of his match with Brock Lesnar as they go to commercial. A WrestleMania video aired, and we are 13 days away. Highlights aired from the SmackDown of Randy Orton, Sheamus, and Big Show issues. And tonight, they were actually on the same page tonight. Backstage segment with Matt Striker interviewing Sheamus. This is how they were on the same page. Who then said he didn't trust Show as much as Randy Orton did initially. He was about to endorse Show when the Shield attacked Sheamus, beat him down 3-on-1. Randy Orton entered the picture and hit one of the Shield members with a chair. I believe that was he hit Roman Reigns. He only sold it for a few seconds and just took a few steps and got back into the action and started beating down Orton. They quickly got the better of him as Big Show arrived and made it a 3-on-3 and tossed the Shield members aside. But he only threw them to the side. They hit nothing. And Big Show helped Orton up, and the trio stood all together. Mark Henry was that ended that segment. Mark Henry was introduced for a handicap match, and it's none other than the Uso brothers, as you will soon find out. Well, after the commercial break, highlights aired from SmackDown 2 weeks ago when Henry beat up Ryback after Ryback had been beaten down by the Shield. So we get match number 2, Mark Henry versus Jimmy and Jey Uso in a handicap match. I predict this was a punishment due to the fact that Jimmy Uso had gotten his second arrest of DUI a couple weeks ago. Usos had a moment of offense early on, but Henry came back and dominated them. Henry threw one of the Usos off the ring apron and hit the World's Strongest Slam on him, and then went to the other one after the win. The match only took a minute 35 seconds. Well, after the match, again, Henry went to ringside, grabbed the other one, threw him back in the ring, performed the World's Strongest Slam on him, and then said, "That's what I do," as he yelled. He also picked up the first Uso and performed the World's Strongest Slam again on him for the second time. All day, Henry yelled. He performed a splash on the other one and then left the ring to end it. Then the announcers hyped Ryback versus Mark Henry from WrestleMania 29. Then hyped Alberto Del Rio versus Antonio Cesaro in a champion versus champion match for after the break. Another champion versus champion match? Holy crap. Okay, it's an extreme example of the reaction we should have for two champions facing off. The new reaction is simply, again? A graphic boasted that WWE Raw was the #1 show on cable last Monday. Wow, they had no other sports to compete against. The announcers hyped that Vicky Guerrero had booked Ryback versus all 3 members of 3MB in a handicap match. Well, match number 3, Alberto Del Rio with Ricardo Rodriguez. Yeah, Ricardo returned wearing coming down on crutches and wearing a leg brace to sell the injury that he got beat down last week. versus Antonio Cesaro in a non-title match. Ricardo came out, like I said, on crutches, selling to Jack Swagger's attack from last week with the ankle lock break, and apologized for his voice not being as strong because he's hurting so much that he was in pain as he delivered the introduction. And Zeb Coulter walked onto the stage during the match. Later, Jack Swagger appeared at ringside and shoved Ricardo to the mat. Swagger dragged Ricardo by his bad leg to the timekeeper's area and then slammed his leg into the barricade. Del Rio attacked Swagger and eventually ran him off, but he was counted out in the process because he didn't care about the loss because it's not a championship match. So Antonio Cesaro defeated Alberto Del Rio by countout in 3 minutes 25 seconds. After the match, Cesaro celebrated briefly. Del Rio went after Cesaro, who appeared to be bleeding from the mouth, and put him in the cross-arm breaker momentarily. The match had no heat, despite being technically solid. I defend Ricardo overselling Swagger's initial attack because he's a non-wrestler. It was too much here, both during the introductions and then after the Swagger attack. And then we get highlights airing of the opening segment with CM Punk, Undertaker, and Paul Heyman. The announcers hyped the Rock and John Cena question and answer segment for later in the show. A shot aired of Kane and Daniel Bryan walking backstage. As Lawler said that they would be in action after the break. Well, the announcers hyped Rock winning a Kids' Choice Award for Best Butt Kicker. Match number 4, Kane and Daniel Bryan versus Primetime Players in a non-title match. Lawler acknowledged Pancake Patterson from last week. Coleslaw said that they probably won't forget that. Good idea. Dolph Ziggler, AJ, and Big E Langston walked onto the stage to watch the match. Coleslaw noted that Darren Young called himself Mr. No Days Off. He said Lawler is Mr. 6 Days Off. Coleslaw said he was way too proud of his own joke. In the end, Kane performed the chokeslam on Young and scored the clean pin. Kane and Daniel Bryan defeated Primetime Players 4 minutes 25 seconds. Coleslaw hyped the Shield being in action in a 6-man tag later in the show, and Lawler hyped Triple H's appearance. As they go to commercial, and after the commercial, a video recapping the Triple H versus Brock Lesnar contract signing. Triple H makes his entrance and recapped the stipulation of his retirement match. He said that if you go to the ring to face Brock Lesnar and think your career might not end, then you've already lost because he's a destroyer, giving him the respect of a competitor. Triple H then said he's fought in the ring every night like his career and his life depended on it. Hunter then said if Heyman thinks he's painted him into a corner, then he's mistaken. Triple H advised Lesnar to show up at WrestleMania like his own career and life are on the line because Brock it very well might, he said. And Hunter he's not coming to WrestleMania to wrestle or fight. I'm coming to kick your ass, as he said. Triple H then dropped the mic and left the ring. Before he could leave the ringside area, Wade Barrett's music and played and headed toward the ring. Triple H momentarily stops halfway up the ramp for a stare down. As Wade comes up to him, Triple H kicked Barrett in the nuts and then looked back at the WrestleMania sign. And Triple H's music played and he headed to the back. After sitting through 2 predictable matches and a lot of commercial breaks, I was actually looking forward to a good, lengthy, meaningful promo. Instead, the entrance felt longer than the promo itself. Don't get me wrong, the promo was effective, but we're at the point where everything is starting to drag during the 3-hour show, and we could have used a bigger dose of star power. Meanwhile, winning a secondary title in WWE has become a negative. And match number 5, Wade Barrett versus The Miz in a non-title match. Barrett was still selling the nut shot in the ring when Miz's music played, which is like a worldwide kick in the balls. The announcers spent their time talking about how much they liked movies and hyping the WWE Studios releases. Lawler joked that it was ironic that Lincoln did well at the box office. The joke sailed over Cole's head, so he overcompensated by laughing like a jackass once he figured it out. Cole then told us Barrett and Miz were having a doozy heading into the break. Well, we're an hour and 45 minutes into the show, and I'm no more excited about WrestleMania 29 than I was coming in. An audible boring chant could be heard, followed by one guy yelling, "You suck," as the match continued. Miz had a nice flurry of offense, yet Barrett blocked his skull-crushing finale attempt. Barrett came back with a swinging slam for a 2 count. Barrett went for the waist slam, but Miz slipped out of it. Later in the match, Barrett got crotched on the rope, on the top rope, to continue destruction of his testicles. Miz applied the figure 4 for the win. And the match only took 13 minutes 30 seconds out of our lives. The crowd didn't seem to care about the match, though they did come to life for the finish. The problem wasn't the match. The problem is that the fans haven't been given enough reasons to care about either wrestler. Cole and Miz said Miz worked himself into an Intercontinental title match at consideration. Backstage, Kane and Daniel Bryan accused the other of never getting over AJ Lee, dating him. Caitlyn let out a primal scream and asked if they ever listened to themselves. As you can see, AJ in the background coming out of her locker room. She said AJ screwed them all over, as AJ's listening to everything going on. As AJ entered the room and stood behind the trio, she just sat there and listened. Well, Caitlyn vented about AJ and called her crazy once she said crazy. Immediately when she said crazy, AJ was attacking her and rammed her head into a water fountain that was hanging on the wall. Kane and Daniel Bryan dragged AJ away during the segment. Announcers hyped The Rock and John Cena, plus the Shield 6-man tag match as they go to commercial break. I assume Caitlyn will be in the corner of Kane and Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania, though I suppose they could be setting up a Divas Championship match, which would be a smart thing to do. The announcer set up the superstars for Sandy Relief campaign. Coleslaw said that they have bids from 135 countries so far. I wonder how much money WWE could raise for Hurricane Sandy Relief if they offered to cut Raw back to 2 hours in exchange for the fans donating a certain amount of money. I would strongly consider giving up a kidney if I thought it would help make that happen. Match number 6. The Shield versus Great Khali, Zack Ryder, and Justin Gabriel. Rollins pinned Gabriel to win the match. Khali tried to fight all 3 Shield members afterwards, as Khali didn't even get in a match to begin with. They did work the other 2 members, and Khali came in afterwards. But they quickly outnumbered them, and the Shield performed their triple power bomb on Khali. I did not see that little part myself, as I was doing my internet stuff. And the match only took 2 minutes 35 seconds. After the match, Randy Orton, Sheamus, and Big Show came out surrounding the ring. The trio entered the ring and eventually cleared the Shield members. The Shield fled through the crowd as Show, Orton, and Sheamus stood tall as they go to commercial break. The crowd was unresponsive throughout the match. How many times are we going to hear complaints about a dead crowd when it's some combination of show quality and 3 hours simply being too long for a weekly wrestling show? The crowd did get up for the post-match angle, so it's not like they're completely dead at this point. Let's just say they're rightfully selective when it comes to what they cheer for. Or they're just getting some exercise. The announcers hyped The Rock and John Cena Q&A segment. Footage aired of Fandango attacking Chris Jericho. Backstage segment with Josh the Stalker Matthews popping out of nowhere and stuck a mic in Chris Jericho's face. Jericho, who was sporting a shiner on his left eye. Yeah, I noticed that myself. He had a big old black eye. It's like a big vein coming out of his left eye. Said Fandango has kicked his ass twice in a row, and it means nothing. Jericho said Vicky Guerrero has given Fandango his chance because they will meet on the biggest stage of them all at WrestleMania. Jericho said that the bullseye is on Fandango's forehead, so he will never, and he paused, but he didn't say ever, he just said ever, be the same again. Damien Sandow and Cody Rhodes made their entrance. Sandow cut a promo on the way to the ring and said that the city is known for greasy sandwiches and a stadium that has a prison inside of it. And then they brought out the Bella twins. They wore outfits that show that they're not exactly identical twins these days. Coleslaw said Rhodes Scholars would face Brodus Clay and Sweet Tea after the break. So we get match number 7, Brodus Clay and Sweet Tea, with Cameron and Naomi, the Funkadactyls, versus Cody Rhodes and Damien Sandow with the Bellas. Sandow's bathrobe is now being marketed by WWE. You're welcome. The Bellas made their mistake of checking on Cody when he was tossed to ringside at one point. Cameron and Naomi are clearly not fans of caring, as they was all at it. As that was all it took for them to attack the twins. Sandow clotheslined Clay with the top rope, and then Cody caught Clay with a beautiful disaster and pinned him. Nothing more than that. The match only took 2 minutes 30 seconds, as the girls had more action than the guys did. And then the announcer set up a preview of G.I. Joe Retaliation starring The Rock. A shot aired of Ryback walking backstage as they go to commercial. Now we are over 140 minutes into the show and still don't want to see WrestleMania yet more than I did before the show. The Rock and John Cena segment better be off the charts real good, and they better hope people haven't already given up on this forgettable show. Match number 8, Ryback versus Drew McIntyre, Heath Slater, and Jinder Mahal in a handicap match. McIntyre caught Ryback with a wicked boot to the face at a minute 20 seconds in. But in the end, Ryback performed a double shell-shock on Slater and Mahal for the win. So Ryback defeated Drew McIntyre, Heath Slater, and Jinder Mahal in a handicap match in 4 minutes 5 seconds. And I believe he just knocked Heath Slater off the ring apron to take him completely out of the match, and that was it for Slater. The double shell-shock spot was cool and got a good reaction from the crowd. Here's hoping McIntyre gets away from 3MB, picks up a mouthpiece, and gets back on track after WrestleMania. Coleslaw announced that Ryback and Mark Henry will compete in the weightlifting contest on Friday Night SmackDown. Well, it's better than an arm wrestling thing, because I think they advertised it last week. So I guess they changed it. The announcers narrated highlights of Jack Swagger snapping from Ricardo Rodriguez's ankle on last week's show on SmackDown, and then attacking him again tonight. Coleslaw, I take that back, that was Raw last week, I think, because he wasn't on SmackDown. Coleslaw said Ricardo has a setback and has bruising and swelling as a result of the attack from tonight's show. A shot aired of AJ Lee skipping backstage. And the announcers recapping the news that Arnold Schwarzenegger will induct Bruno Sammartino into the WWE Hall of Fame. So, no announcement for Booker T inductee. Well, I'm still thinking his brother Stevie Ray. Match number 9, and the Divas champion Caitlyn versus AJ Lee in a non-title match. Caitlyn got off to a fast start. AJ came back with 2 hard slaps to the face, but Caitlyn took her down again. They went to ringside, and AJ dodged a spear, causing Caitlyn to run into the barricade. Caitlyn was counted out as AJ wins the match in 2 minutes. Of course, it's non-title. Footage of Rock facing John Cena in video game form, and of course, The Rock ended up holding the title up on the top rope. Now to hype the Q&A for after the break as we go over the 10 o'clock hour. It goes exactly about 23 minutes over. Maybe we'll get to see the Divas Championship at WrestleMania after all. Nope. Still not more excited about WrestleMania than I was before. If weightlifting has a weekly television show, would the participants challenge each other to wrestling matches just for the hell of it? Coleslaw announced that Orton, Sheamus, and Show versus The Shield is officially set for WrestleMania. Who knew it wasn't actually official? Jerry the King Lawler stood in the ring where two podiums were set up on the opposite sides of the ring. So it's like a debate for him. There was also a table with 4 chairs set up behind it. Lawler introduced the legends and ran through their accomplishments. Booker T was out first, Mick Foley was the next. Footage of his Hell in a Cell dive was included in his video. And I'm just a common man. Son of a plumber. Dusty Rhodes was out next. And finally, the best there was, best there is, best there ever will be. Bret Hart. He was actually the 5th man advertised, as Ric Flair was also advertised, but due to his health condition, he was rushed to the hospital. And then Coleslaw said the Rock and John Cena would be grilled by the legends after the break. They all have one question. As they go to commercial, The Rock made his entrance and then shook hands and hugged the legends. No hug for Booker? John Cena made his entrance and shook hands with the legends. Once Cena's music stopped playing, there were loud boos. Lawler said each of the legends would ask Rock or Cena. Once they respond, the other man would get his chance to respond. Lawler said they would get things started with the newest Hall of Famer, Mick Foley. Poor Booker. Foley recalled teaming with The Rock at WrestleMania 20 and said that he had a deep sense of regret because they lost, and because they lost what they thought would be Rock's last match ever. Foley said he gets lots of flack for being a Cena fan, but he felt like a weight was lifted on his shoulders when Rock beat Cena last year. As it goes past the 10 o'clock hour now, Foley asks if Cena is prepared to cope with the regret that could come with another loss to Rock. Cena says April 7th will be a historic day for WWE. He said that whether he wins or loses that match, it's safe to say it will change the face of WWE forever. Cena said a win would give him much needed redemption. Cena said last year he would have said losing is not an option. Cena said he knows that losing is a very real option. And Cena said the name of a former Eagles quarterback, Donovan McNabb. The crowd heavily booed him. He said it again, and the crowd booed even louder. He said McNabb is statistically the greatest quarterback to ever put on an Eagles uniform. He said that people react to him with boos because he could not win the big one. Cena said Rock doesn't know about failure because he soon will. But he soon will. Viking fans boo him because he was a washed-up bum who accomplished nothing during his run in Minnesota. Screw that Campbell soup eating mofo and his fake TV commercial mother. And as The Rock recalled his early time in tearing up his knee during his Rocky Maivia gimmick, he said he could have quit, but he worked hard, and when he came back, he said he told them to just give him the mic. Rock delivered the finally line. Rock said he came back to Philadelphia as champion and got his ass kicked by Stone Cold Steve Austin. Rock said he made a decision to come back and become one of the greatest of all time. He said his early failures made him the man that he is today, and the man that he is today is going to whip Cena's ass at WrestleMania in 13 days. Well, Bret Hart was up next, asking either one of them a question. He said Rock and Cena were good friends of his, and he noticed last year that it seemed like there was bad blood. He said it almost because a Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels thing. Hart wanted to know what happened and what changed since then. Well, Rock said what happened last year was that there were two men who wanted to be the best, and they went for it for 30 minutes. Rock said he beat Cena in the ring, and then Cena didn't bitch or moan, and he respects that. Rock recalled calling out the Rock in an interview for saying he loves WWE. Cena said he told Rock to prove it, and he did. Cena said he thought the match was once in a lifetime because he assumed The Rock would leave afterwards, and that he handpicked his handpicked match in his hometown. Cena said Rock showed him how much he loves WWE by raising the ante and saying that he's going to win the WWE Championship, which he did. Cena said that they have not hung out even once since then, yet he respects the hell out of Rock. Cena said he appreciates Rock, praising him for the way he handled the loss, and in 13 days we're going to see how Rock handles his. Booker T was up next and noted that he was the only legend on the panel who had wrestled Rock and Cena both. Booker asked Cena why he's going to beat The Rock at WrestleMania. As Cena paused, he had no facial expression whatsoever in this, took off his hat and said, "Because I have to. That's it, because I have to." No enthusiasm at all in that little segment. The Rock told Cena it was a shallow, weak answer. "How about you wipe a monkey's ass with I have to?" As Rock said, he told Cena to tell them the truth about why he has to beat him. "Because you didn't beat me," Cena said. "You didn't beat me. You cannot beat me. I beat me." And that's the first time I have ever said that publicly. But that is fact. One bad decision. Cena said he got caught up in one personal moment. He said he comes out every week and some people like him, some people don't. Cena said he just goes along for the ride. He said Rock is the only person who clouded his judgment and made him make a stupid mistake. And Cena said that he watched the match 100 times and Rock threw every ace he had at him, and it wasn't enough. One time you personally got in the way of me making the easiest decision of my life, Cena said. He said it will never happen again, and he will step in the ring and do it on his own terms because he knows, and I know, I am better than The Rock. He fired up, Cena said, and much more importantly, The Rock knows that I am better than The Rock. Unquote. Well, The Rock responded by saying that if Cena had him beat, he would have beaten him. And Rock said he kicked out of the Attitude Adjustment and left Cena speechless. Rock said that there's one more legend he wanted to be like, and when he was young, and he has a saying, "To be the man, woo, you got to beat the man." And Rock said John Cena can't beat the man because he is not the man. As Dusty tried to interrupt, but Rock stopped him and told Cena that for the rest of their lives he will never be the man. Dusty said WrestleMania is about winning and losing. He said there are no guarantees in this business. He said sometimes you don't always get what you want, and what you want is not always what you get. His question was what Rock and Cena really want on April 7th. And Cena says, "I want to win the big one. Not only win the big one, I want to dominate The Rock." Cena said he wants The Rock to look up at the sky at the end of WrestleMania and finally realize what the ball cap wearing punk who never belonged in the Attitude Era belongs. And that he's better than The Rock. As Cena said, he wants to do to Rock what he did to him by handing him a loss was so devastating that it will haunt him for the rest of his life. Rock said he's not wired that way. Rock said he will wake up still the WWE champion, the People's champion, while Cena will wake up, eat Fruity Pebbles, and ask himself why for the second year in a row. Rock told Cena to prove the world wrong at WrestleMania, but better than that, how about you prove me wrong right now, as he challenged him to a match. As Rock said, Rock then put down the mic. Cena took his hat and his shirt off, slowly. Lawler tried to talk him down. Cena took his tags off, kissed him, the dog tags, just like he does before most of his matches. Then walked toward The Rock. Then he did the "you can't see me" right in his face hand gesture, and Rock shoved Cena away and came back Cena scoops him up for the Attitude Adjustment. Rock slipped out and slammed Cena with a rock bottom. And Rock left the ring and jawed at Cena from a distance. While Cena sat on the ground with a dejected look on his face, Rock went up. As Raw went off the air with Rock motioning for Cena to bring it. Well, a really strong money segment to close the show. The intensity is believable, and I love the story that is being told, with Cena seemingly obsessed with winning the match. I wish we saw Cena like this more often, but that one segment, it was just not there. But it does feel special, in part because we do not see this really. We don't really see the side of his character on a regular basis. Rock is ultra confident. Cena is still obsessed. This is really working for me. Cena is so intense that a small part of me wonders if they intend to transition into a heel turn. I doubt it because it's Cena. But the groundwork is laid out, and he did say the face of WWE changes forever. Win or lose. The rest of the show left so much to be desired. It had some ups, some downs, opening segment, and Hunter's brief promo. With so many downs, the live crowd was just lifeless at times, and once again, WWE gave them plenty of reasons to be that way. So, you need to step it up next week, or you'll lose a lot of viewers for WrestleMania. And that will end my results for this week for Raw and the Superstar spoilers. Thanks again. Peace out.